that green. Did I now? That was you.
I want to bring you guys along on this summer day and just doing simple, normal, everyday things that I do. Today I am planting and taking you along with me today. I was not going to film and I started planting my new flowers and I decided to bring you guys along. Violet has a vegetable garden that is doing quite nicely, and we have squash, bell peppers, strawberries, and 2 types of peppers, I believe. And this is a trial run. This is our first time to ever use raised garden beds. Now, I know we're late to the game, but I grew up in the country my entire life, and so now living in town, we are using raised garden beds. And so far, so good. Today we decided to visit a local nursery to shop for our summer plants and flowers, and it's family owned and lovely and relaxing to shop. I'll just give you my card. That way it might just be easier for you. Would that be better for you?
Either way, yeah. Because you can just kind of tap it then if you're.
Yeah.
Let me see. This one is.
You're fine. I'm not in a hurry. I filmed this the day before I left for my trip out of state, and it was a spur of the moment trip, and it was a Thursday, and I was just coming home from buying new planters at Home Goods the day before, and so Thursday I woke up and I thought, I'm going to go to this little nursery that my sister-in-law told me about, and it's family owned. And anytime I can go to a family-owned business, that's what I prefer to do. And this little nursery was absolutely beautiful and so peaceful. I purchased 3 plants, and so I'm trying to decide which plant goes in which planter. And I decided to put the white one in this beautiful sage green planter. And both plants say they take full sun. However, I am finishing up this video a couple weeks later, and the white flower seems to not be thriving. I know sometimes a plant, once it's planted in a planter, it can be shocked or the planter is too big, but I'm wondering if it's too much sun. My front porch gets full sun almost all day long, and so I might move him onto the porch. I am not sure. I am enjoying being outside these days, and I used to kind of complain about the California weather. We get a lot of sunshine here and not a lot of rain. The last 2 years have been a little bit more rainy, but one thing about California is even though it's hot, the evenings always cool off and it's bearable and doable. And once the sun goes down, you can sit and just enjoy the summer weather. And I used to love rainy, overcast days. I would tell Titus it could rain for a month and I wouldn't care. And I don't know what has changed inside of me. Maybe it's my age, but last year something clicked in my head and I can't hardly do the rain anymore. I don't know why. And I know we need rain and sunshine to make things grow, and that's just life. But let me know in the comments below if you're like me and the older you get, the more you prefer sunshine. I'm thinking it's my age. My sister Carrie is feeling the same way, and my sister-in-law too. So maybe it's just our age, but here in California where I live, we do have really good weather, and it's beautiful and sunshiny almost all the time. I like to mix dirt in these bags that I buy at Lowe's or Tractor Supply. I feel like mixing the two really makes the plants thrive. And sometimes when I use just the bags, they dry out way too fast. I don't know, maybe it's my imagination. Maybe it's because it's so hot here or we have so much sunshine. And I have also been placing rocks at the bottom of my planters. I have little tiny rocks and they work perfectly and the plants drain properly. And some of you guys gave me those tips or that tip, and I'm using it and it's working so well. My plants are draining nicely, and with the beautiful sunshine here in California, most of my plants are literally thriving and just growing beautifully. Titus and the girls held down the fort for me while I was gone for 2 weeks, and they watered my flowers and took care of my indoor plants. I did come home to one plant that Titus said he was getting dressed. He saw I never even knew you had a plant on the dresser. Titus is the type of husband that really doesn't notice anything that I decorate in the house. He doesn't care. I can do whatever I want in the house. So I was laughing because I've had this plant on my dresser for like a year and he has never noticed. He realized that this plant needed water, so he caught this plant just in time for me, and so far it's pulling out of its little dry state that it had got itself into. And I usually water my indoor plants when they are completely dry, so about every 2 weeks. Sometimes longer for some plants, like my fiddle leaf will be watered like every 3 weeks. I just thought it was so funny that he did not notice that this live plant was sitting on our dresser. It's so him. I always joke that I could paint a wall black and he would walk in and not notice. I don't know if your husband's like that, but that's how Titus is, and it works well for me. I don't think I could be married to a guy that, can I use the word dictate what I did in the house and what I put in the house? I'm not saying it's bad, but our relationship and I guess my personality and his personality works very well together because he doesn't care what I do in the house, and I enjoy changing things up and redoing things, and he supports my habits and helps me with my DIYs, and it works out rather well for both of us. I've been thinking about taking the month of July off, and if I don't post no videos in July, you know it's because I'm taking a break. And we are so busy in July, I feel like. We go camping for 10 days, and camping is not my favorite thing to do. I do it because the girls and Titus love it. But where we camp is kind of raw, I feel like. And it's very just rugged and rustic. And so after about 6 days, I am ready to come home. But we usually end up staying for about 10. So that takes up a big portion of my July. And I feel like I could use the break. I have never taken a break here on my channel. And so I have been quietly thinking about doing that. So if you don't see a video, you know I'm just taking a small break in July. If you see some videos in July, then you know I decided to go ahead and post. Have not fully decided on that, but I am wanting to enjoy summer and all that summer brings. I love being a mom, a housewife, a homemaker, and I feel like that's my first job, first and foremost, and homeschooling and just all the wonderful things that homemaking entails. And I know homemaking looks different for each of us, so I'm not saying it's a cookie cutter, but for me, this is what homemaking looks like, is homeschool, gardening, planting, and taking care of my family, which honestly I love. It is my favorite thing to do. I am a homebody. And so when I say I could live at home, no pun intended, I literally love being home. I do a lot of my shopping online for clothes. About 90% of my clothes and shoes are ordered online. And then I do Costco, and I do a couple other stores to grab some things. But honestly, I am home all the time. So going on this trip that I recently went on was really big for me. One, I don't like to fly. I'm afraid to fly. And you would never look at me in the plane and think that I'm afraid, but I am. And then just being a homebody. So being out of my element was very different for me, but it was so good for me as well, because I feel like it makes you realize how blessed you are and how much you love your people and your home. And I think sometimes I get a little bit discontent, and then you're away for 2 weeks and then you realize how blessed you are. And I am also so thankful I got to go be with my friend, and I miss her a lot. We text daily, and one of those friendships that time and distance does not separate. And I love my friends, I love my family, and I love this beautiful life that God has blessed me with. And I hope you're enjoying summer, and I am so thankful you came along with me today on this summer video.